and welcome to the stream, everyone. We're going to be starting off in just a couple minutes. And hello to Akasha-shin, who is already in the chat. So I am currently in Whaler's Wharf, because there's something a bit silly I need to do. But the purpose of today's live stream is actually to head on over to the new city and start getting some work done. Been about a week or so since I've been there. And it could use a visit. So the reason I didn't show the interior of this boat is because I actually built this in my super flat world, and then I totally forgot that when I pasted it in, I needed to get rid of the water. So it's actually a little bit inundated, unfortunately. There we go. Yeah, you can get a bit of a feel for what this place is like. It's got a pretty spacious captain's cabin. You know, some storage here, some barrels, crates, and whatnot. Here we have a small bedroom for the first mate. And if I spin around, you see that there are 4 beds for these sailors themselves, a little anchor system, and actually a toilet. And you'll see that anchor thing basically comes out to here. So this is our little anchor. I think it looks pretty snazzy. And I'm overall really happy with how this boat turned out. I think it adds a lot to be able to get into the town itself and just look out over the water. Although I'm not sure if it'll disappear with the render distance. But if it's not too far away... okay. Hold on. Why don't we bump this up just a notch? Smidge more, and there you have it. So I really built this so that when I was in Whaler's Wharf, I'd have something nice to look out to. And overall, I'm happy with how this place turned out. I think it is a cool addition to the world. I know some people aren't a huge fan of when I do these more modern builds in Tredegor. I think that's part of the fun of the place, is just, you know, how varied it is and how you can stumble across some weird things in the woods when you go out. I was actually thinking I might want to add a creaking heart or 2 around this place so that we can get some creakings spawning at night. But I don't know. That might scare off the survival players too much. In any case, I'm going to depart from here and we're going to head on over to the New World. I still don't have a good name for the city that I've been working on. I tried to come up with some names. It didn't really work out. But in any case, this is the current state of things. You can see it's still loading in a bit. But I have a lot of stuff that I have sort of planned that I want to take care of. So basically, my main real issue right now is that I need to terraform this place quite a bit before it starts looking anything like what it should, effectively. My plan is to have a big port over on this side and some farms and stuff around here somewhere, but you can see this is only a really narrow strip of land and then it just drops way off. I think my first order of business actually is to sort of build this place up a bit. We're gonna get some rocks, I think. A little bit of dirt, or grass rather. We're going to increase the meld strength and just make it go all the way down to the ground. And we can start to sort of pull that out. Although I don't think I want it to be quite that high. I think I want to make sure that it doesn't get above y equals about 65 or so. Then we can come out here and make this a little bit, you know, a little bit wider, a little bit more usable. Like so. You can see it's taking a second to load in at the moment. But in any case, that's the goal for today's stream, is just to do a little bit of work on this place, sort of get it feeling a bit more, not complete, but getting a lot of the legwork in, basically. I'm considering what this place should feel like at the shoreline, and I'm not sure. I might make it a beach, to be honest. I think maybe a beach would be nice. And this bit here is really just a huge mess. You can see the terrain just drops right off into the water because of that new terrain that we have now. Well, since the 1.18. But anyway. My goal now is just trying to create a sort of plateau so that it doesn't drop off right into the ocean. And I'm going to do that a little bit gradually. And then we'll smooth it all out, of course. But doing it like this helps as well. Whoops. Not intended. Click the wrong button on my mouse. I think what I want to do now is kind of smooth things out a bit. Fix the edges and whatnot. Although I don't know if I can physically smooth it out enough for what it needs to be. Oh, because it's not doing it all the way up. Okay, I found my issue. There we go. Now we're getting some nice, smoother terrain in here. Of course, it's always going to be a little bit laggy. And I'm not sure for how long I'm going to go for today. It always kind of depends on how the stream is going, what time it is, you know. But usually I go for like an hour or two. Then we can come in here, just sort of work things out a little bit. There we go. Now we actually have a bit of a coastline. That isn't totally, well, I think it could still use a bit of work, but we're getting somewhere. Just a little something like so. And slowly but surely, we will get to having an actual coastline for this place instead of the weird kind of jumbled vanilla terrain. I will turn up my background music just a smidge. This is ultimately a very laggy process. Oh, music kicked in. You can see the kelp is kind of messing up our plans a little bit, so I think I have to get rid of some of the kelp in here. I think there are two types of kelp, though, from a Minecraft perspective. There we go. And we're gonna have to paint this out with water, I believe. So we can actually work in here. Yeah, you can see how much it's really messed up the terrain generation already. It just creates these weird little pockets, especially when you try to smooth things out. That's problematic. There we go. Now we can actually work in here. Like I said, the goal is just to try to create a decent looking sort of coastline for this place that isn't too messy. And we're coming in here with our axiom brushes and just trying to smooth everything down into the ground. Just trying to get a little bit of some flatter terrain in here. You can see how bumpy it is. There we go. It's coming together. So over here, I don't really know what I want to do, but I do recognize that this river needs to be bigger. Like this over here is good, but what we have over there is, and over here really is too thin, unfortunately. So we got to find a way to get rid of some of this stuff. I think we're going to use our axiom melt tool. And just come in here and get rid of some of the stuff, and we can smooth out the terrain later. But for now, the real important part is just getting rid of some of this land so that we have some space to work. Over here, I still have no idea what I'm going to do, but this over here is definitely too narrow for our river. I want this to feel like a big European river, you know, like the Seine or the Danube, the Rhine. It needs to have a certain scale, you know? Of course, we can come in with our fluid ball and get to filling some of this back in so we can actually see what it's going to look like. Like so. Already, I think that's better. Although you can see that our chicken is now floating out here. And hello to Akashashin, who is in the chat. And hello to all my other chat people. I'm trying to currently get rid of some of the water that has come up where it's not supposed to, basically. There we go. This over here could definitely use some smoothing out. And I think I need to get rid of these trees. We're going to use a land clearing brush. This is a brush that I've designed myself. There are technically brushes with Axiom that you can get from other people, but I haven't used any of those. So I just make all my own brushes. Sorry, B, you gotta go. In any case, looks like we might need to fill out the terrain a little bit here on this side. But I'm gonna leave that for future me. The current kind of goal is still on widening the river, not bringing it in. I think, again, we need to get in a little bit of water here. We're just going to melt the land. Like so. Hey, it's not working. I clicked the wrong tool. All right, there we go. So in Paris, there used to be a bridge that had a bunch of water wheels on it. It was called the Bridge of Millers, basically. So that is kind of what I'm trying to recreate here. You can see the whole place is largely inspired by Paris. So I am trying to kind of create my own version of a lot of those big landmarks and important buildings. So we are going to have our millers here on the side of the water. They're not all going to be grain mills. I know that at least one of them somewhere here I want to be a fulling mill, which is where they treat wool. Hello to Credos and Milkshake Deluxe in the chat. Damn, bombarding that bank. Yeah, it well, I will say it goes a lot faster in Axiom. I think maybe this would work as some kind of a river delta. So I'm thinking, what if we came in here and just tried to leave in like some islands or something? This bit here definitely needs to go because it doesn't look good. It doesn't really make sense. And I think having a flatter area to work with here, especially leading into this big delta, would work. So we can do something like that. Looks like we missed one at the moment. But in any case, coming in here with our aerial bombardment, basically. And just really opening up the mouth of the river quite a bit. And again, we can come in and try to fill it in with water, see what we're working with. Basically, this is a long and tedious process that will go on forever. I've never done landscaping or terraforming on this scale before, as I'm doing for this place, because this is the biggest like build I've ever done. So it kind of has to look good all around it, not just from like one angle. Although I will say this currently is my main angle for the build. Which bridge had the water wheels? First time I hear about it, despite not being too far north of Paris. It doesn't exist anymore. It was called, I think it was called Le Pont des Meuniers. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, okay. If you're curious, for people in the chat, I'll type it in. So you can see what I'm talking about if you want to look it up for yourselves. But in any case, Paris had obviously a bunch of bridges because Paris is basically an island in the middle of a river, sort of like this, but massive. Um, and that's where, you know, most of the mills in the city itself were. I'm not really sure where this river actually goes, and I think the answer is literally nowhere. So that kind of sucks. This is technically where world spawn is. He spawned in about here, and I kind of followed this river to find this big sort of plateau area. You can see I still have a lot of terraforming ahead of me. Good golly. Slowly but surely, though, we will get there. Promise you. But yeah, there's a lot going on right now. And I am planning on having a little gate here. Because this is going to be like a little enclosed community sort of thing. I don't know if I'm going to physically have walls. I might have walls. But the point of it is that it's going to be like a suburb, or as they say in French, un faubourg. So full, like for, meaning in front of, and bourg, like a burg, a city or a castle. So faubourg means the place outside of the walls, basically. But I think that we need to dig this out a bit deeper, because this is like a kiddie pool. Paris, together with London, originated as a big bridge to cross the river that then drew people to live close by. Interesting. That does make sense. I know a lot of places start off as like really, well, I think Oxford is the same thing, basically. Not a bridge, of course, but like an actual physical ford. Now let's try to melt this out a little bit more, and I want this to be like a really shallow bank on this side. This here needs to go. This kind of like weird string of islands is kind of annoying me. But we're getting somewhere, folks. We're getting somewhere. I'm not sure what to do with this bit. I might bring out the land, or I might dip it in with more water. But in any case, this is still too shallow here. So I want to get a little bit of something in, like so. And we're starting to get an idea of what this river is going to actually look like. I'm not sure if this is the only project I'm going to get to today, but right now it's the one that's calling me, because it's kind of bothering me how like messy the terrain is around here. So, you know, we'll get to stuff, but I think right now, unfortunately, this is a kind of large-scale terraforming stream. There we go. Moving a lot of blocks with these brushes. So I'm sure that there is some lag. But in any case, we are getting somewhere. I think this place already looks a lot better than it did before. There we go. Whoa. Hey, that's pretty nice. Oh, we messed up again with the water. Easy is a lot of going back and forth. Instead of using the bridge, making... Oh, hold on, this is part of a thread. Fun fact about the London one, when the Romans went on their Britain conquest, people from Flanders, due to having some ritual related to crossing rivers, we swam across, instead of using the bridge, making the Romans confused and solidify their view of us as barbarians. Interesting. Very interesting. I have never been to Flanders, but I would love to visit the Low Countries. I really like the aesthetic of like the Dutch Golden Age, and I think it would be a really fun visit. Although it's not currently on my bucket list because trying to save up money, and I just went to Slovakia earlier this year. So I got my Europe trip out of the way for the next few years. There you go. This is starting to look like a real formidable river. Although it's kind of got some weird pockmarked caves. Not entirely sure why. I have no idea how this world is going to develop. So at the very least, my plan is to do this city and then like some farms around it. And this island here, I basically have marked out to be a monastery. But after that, I really don't know. That is way too small. Hold on. And I think we have to move this up a few blocks so we can actually see what it says. There we go. Yeah, I like the idea of having a little island monastery here that you can just access by like a single bridge. It would be a little bit like Sarneville, like 2.0, but it would really just be a monastery, like no houses. You know, a little tiny chapel and then like places for the monks to live. Of course, you can see why we don't need a church over there. We have our beautiful recreation of Notre Dame Cathedral. I looked into the mill bridge you were on about. It wasn't really mills on the bridge, it was more near the bridge as the supports in the river. I'm not sure what you mean exactly, Milkshake Deluxe. And no, I never mind people talking in the chat. These streams are always more fun when people are talking about whatever we're on about. You can see all the animals have been kind of left out here. Place looks really barren and naked now. You made it sound as if the water wheels were on the bridge. Oh, my understanding is... I've seen pictures of like recreations. My understanding is basically that there is a bridge level and then there are a bunch of wooden supports, and basically parts of the wooden supports have like big water wheels in them, and parts of them are just empty so that boats can like pass through. I'm not sure if that's accurate. That's just my understanding of what it was. I might be wrong on that. And sometimes, of course, you just have to come in and terraform by hand because this just looks ridiculous. There we go, a little bit better. This here I need to come back in and redo, but basically this was me trying to make a open sewer system. I didn't really get what open sewer system meant when I built this. I have to come in and redo it. Bernelli's principle in architecture. This here needs to be smoothed out. Like so. That's better. I think it's a lot better as this kind of big wide slope. I really like the river. I'm not sure if it's definitely wide enough. This needs to be taken down though. Just a little bit. I'm gonna say y equals greater than like 80 maybe? I need to actually check what level. Whoops. Okay, this block here is level 81. So I need to say y equals greater than like 75. And then we can melt. And melt. And just bring this down a little bit, down by the river. And it'll help us a lot because the gateway is going to be here, and I don't want it to feel like you have to like go down to see the gate. So obviously we can come in here and then just smooth it all back out. And that's just sort of the process over and over again, is roughing and smoothing and roughing and smoothing. But I swear, eventually it pays off. What does open sewer system mean? Oh, okay. So, like the most basic form of open sewer system, sorry, a closed sewer system is like what we think of as a sewer system. You know, like the big sort of stone bricks underneath the ground. Open sewer system more often is either something like a wooden gutter in the floor. Those of you who played Kingdom Come Deliverance, you kind of get it. Gutenberg is full of like these little wooden gutters. You can also have a little stone gutter in the floor. Or you can just have like a ditch. So you can just have like a small ditch on like the side of the road, and people just know, like, you know, if you live in these houses, you put like a, you know, you just have like a plank of wood or something. Like you just have a little like step over, and it's mostly just open. It might be running water if there's like, if you're downhill of something. It might just be a ditch that gets wet when it rains. And that's kind of more what an open sewer is. The reason I'm not really happy with the open sewers that I did over yonder is because the whole point of an open sewer is that historically you get open sewers before like closed sewers. So if somebody was going to take the time to build a whole proper sewer, they wouldn't make it look like this. They would just build an actual proper sewer. If you see something above ground, it's probably because it's, you know, it's a cost saving measure, you know. Back when people used windows for privies, but at least it's better than the Stuarts era. Some towns in my country still do this, where once a month they let water rush down the very steep road and it takes away all the filth. Interesting. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think that there were any very steep roads in Flanders. But that might be my own biases coming through. I think this still needs to be lower because the city wall here is really not very high. So I think we need to melt this down a little bit, honestly. Especially this bit. Get rid of that cliff. Like so. We can smooth it out pretty aggressively. And of course we can come in and paint this all with grass just to see like what's up. Oh, pig just dropped down. Wallonia is the part that does the water on the road thing. Oh, interesting. This stream kind of came out of nowhere for me. I announced it like 2 hours ago, basically. But yeah, I tend not to plan my streams out like really in advance, for the simple reason that I never know like what I'm gonna be doing at like 3 p.m. It's easier for me to do evening streams, but most people it's hard to attend evening streams. So I tend not to do them much. I think we need to do another land clearing brush here. One of the things about using Axiom for a while is you just start to collect like absolutely tons of brushes. It's just ridiculous. But in any case, we need to push this back. I'm not going to have like a vanilla forest like right here. That's new. I'm not used to having to clear out leaf litter. Here we go. Block equals leaf litter. That's so annoying. Why? Why does that not get rid of that? Okay, block equals, I just do it by itself. Will I? Okay, there we go. Oh my god, I do not want to get rid of leaf litter by hand. Lord help me if I ever have to get rid of leaf litter by hand. To be fair, I was at church. To be fair. This bit here is a canal that was dug, so it's not really meant to look like a natural river, but I do still need to like fix it up a bit. And here we have one of these city entrances. If anybody knows Eastern European cities, this is based off of the old town gate in Košice in Slovakia. And over here we just have a little bit of an area where it's like basically the whole point of like mid defenses starting like a little bit after the Middle Ages is that you want to push back like people as much as possible. Because if you can walk up right to a wall, like you can just put up a ladder. If you have to cross a ditch, that's a pain. And then if you have to cross like 10 ditches, that's like a huge pain, and you're probably just not going to attack them at all. Because you would need to spend like 5 years just filling in ditches just to get to the walls. So that's why even though like this isn't really super defensible, it just makes sure that you can't get right up close to the city. And my goal is to have this kind of stuff all around the city to some degree. I'm just not really sure how much, because you guys saw, like, I fly through here real quick. Oh, I didn't mention it, but this is the Louvre. This is what the Louvre used to look like before it was like the modern building. What I was saying though is that you can see here there isn't like a ton of space, especially if I want to include a port. Whoa, really loud thunder. So I'm not entirely sure how much of the city can be like double walled, but that is kind of my goal. That sucks. Did I do that? Y equals 62. That shouldn't be doing that. Oh, glitchiness. What can you do? I'm gonna make this a permanent brush because I keep having to remake this. There we go. You can see now why I have so many brushes. But in any case, sounds like it assumes a particular strategy. Who had a uniquely vulnerable right side? I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I would double walls parts of the city not facing the massively wide river. I agree. But then I get to parts like this where it's like, clearly this is going to be a canal. Like I can make the canal now, actually. This is going to be a canal. But then I have a piece like this where it's like, what the hell do I do here? And then I have bits like this, obviously, where it's just like weird Minecraft terrain, and I don't know what to do here either. This whole lake is just... Minecraft terrain really got like a very weird and steep. I don't like a lot of the new terrain, I'll be completely honest. For the most part, it just doesn't really do it for me. There we go. Pretty stone bridge with iron bars on the side. Making a sticking out fortress, like a bastion of sorts. Maybe that's not the worst idea. I think, hold on, I think you're right, honestly. Like doing something like this, but just covering the island. I don't know what I'd put here though. The problem is it only connects on the inside of the city to the cemetery. So that's a bit of a weird one. I don't really have a... To get rid of it entirely, then I just have a huge lake. I feel like that's problematic. I feel like there's a lot more random holes in the ground with new terrain. Like, yes and no. Okay, so Minecraft used to have all these little ponds everywhere, and ponds sucked. Like, these, basically. Like, you can't walk 20 feet in old terrain without seeing a pond, but now you just have these huge, deep lakes. It's like, this is just... This is like like randomly stumbling across like Lake Baikal. Like, it's crazy. I don't even know. Okay, hold on. This is too much. This is still too much. That's good. This might need to be deeper. Not entirely sure. Oh, I'm going too fast, y'all. And this I'll probably get rid of up against the wall here. And there'll be a bridge on that side, of course. Small church for a foreign funerary services with a potter's field. I'm not sure what potter's field means exactly. Make the bastion only accessible by the wall. That I can do. Is that lake considered an ocean biome by the game? Good question. I have no idea. What is this considered? Ocean. Huh. Yeah, you're right. It is an ocean. I don't know that I would consider that an ocean, but someone somewhere does, I guess. There we go. I think Bastion only accessible by the city walls kind of works. Keep bumping my mic by accident. What am I doing here? I do really like this area. It's like one of the few semi-finished places in like the build. This, I don't know. So in the actual bridge in Koshitse, there was a drawbridge. I can send the picture in the Discord later. But basically, it's a stone bridge, and then right when you get up to the gate, it's just a drawbridge, and it's like... But it's so, like, kills the vibe? I don't know. Potter's Field is an anonymous burial area for the poor. Interesting. What I mean by the right side thing, back in the day, people invading, what did people use? Sword and shields. Which hand did they use for which? Sword right hand, shield left hand mostly, but people are like ambidextrous or left-handed or whatever. But mostly sword right hand, shield left hand, like in Minecraft usually. I mean, like Minecraft uses your shield as your like left offhand thing. I need to check how deep this canal is gonna be. I don't know. But if it's like 2 blocks deep, yeah, this is like not enough. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. And just smooth it out. Just smooth it out a little bit. Because it's a canal, I don't like super care if it's the smoothest like thing in the world, because it's like, yeah, you know, you give like 200 French guys pickaxes and like go build a canal. You know, you might not get the smoothest thing in the world. I think realistically. I don't know why I specified French. I just mean 200 people generally. The reason I said French is because this is like Paris. So I'm thinking of everybody here being like French. I have no specific doubts about the ability of French ethnic people to dig canals. I want to put that out there. Now we can flood fill this. Like so. And like so. And we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Hence you'll see many medieval cities or castles having a turn to the left, someone assaulting the gate. Yeah, I get what you mean. Lessons learned on the ocean. Minecraft be weird, yo. Minecraft do be weird, yo. That's why I recommend a small church with a potter's field. On the cemetery, the other side of the wall. Small door to access that area. That's not a bad idea. Why not use display chains for the drawbridge? I haven't used any display entities in this build so far, and I'm not sure if I will. I do kind of, okay. I think I'm sorry, who's recommending this specifically? Akashashin, I think you're right. I think if this is going to be a monastery and this is going to be a graveyard, this should be some kind of like small religious site. Okay, so I think a chapel is always nice. Maybe make this text a little bit smaller because of that, you know. I wanted to ask, is my audio okay? I know I always have audio issues on everything, but can you guys hear me okay? And especially in relation to like the game music and my mouse clicking? When will this be, will this be then also the access point to the island? That's a good question. I think the answer is no. I think probably the access point to the island is going to be like over here. I don't want it to detract from like the city entrance. I want the city entrance to be like very like, oh, you're going to the city. I'm just turn that up a couple notches. So that's why I feel like I'd rather have that just be a little bit off, and then you can kind of like fully get into the whole city thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like, I don't even know if I'm gonna build this monastery until like 2026, guys. Like I don't have like a time frame for this place. That's the video I made when I said this build is never gonna get done. I meant it. Like I have no idea when or if anything here will ever be in a presentable state. I hope so, but like I don't know, man. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think I need to come in here and kind of like hand terraform a couple things. This is fine. I don't mind having like a little bit of, because my thought process is, even realistically, if you did completely dig out like all of the dirt here, the sediment would just push it right back. You never get rid of dirt. That's like top 10 things you can't ever get rid of. Oh, the water here is bugged too. I don't know why it keeps doing that. I don't know why it keeps doing that. There we go. Okay, what's happening? That would guarantee the monastery's defenses. Yeah. That's why I thought a small stone bridge could go there. Long stone bridge with lanterns scream, you go into the real city now. Fair enough. Yeah, I think it's going to be a few more seasons of building and streaming. Oh, I get it, Milkshake Deluxe. I think a lot of my viewers, their first language isn't English. A while ago, I showed you guys the actual demographics for the channel, and like there are people in the Philippines who watch my stuff. I think Leo's in the Discord is from the Philippines. I know I have fans in Brazil, which is always interesting. And I know I get a decent amount of people from Germany and Central Europe for some reason that I haven't entirely figured out. But I'm never going to complain. I think it's nice to have fans from everywhere. And I think it makes things more interesting, certainly. Hold on, now this is causing issue. Okay. Okay. I think having, so I originally wanted to have my Notre Dame be on an angle, and then I thought about it and I was like, oh, this is gonna make me have the worst time of my life. Which is why I think having this chapel be on an angle would actually be good. I think if we put it somewhere like here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I need to look at an... Whoops, sorry, hit the mic. Okay, what are we getting up to in the chat? Your water issue might be a source block. Maybe. How long are you gonna do this stream? I have no idea. Maximum like 5:30. Minimum 4:30. I would think the bottom of the wall in the water would be cobblestone or some type of brick. No, I'm gonna keep these walls all like the same. This is basically meant to be well, the stuff that Paris was built out of before, like the white stone. But this is like not the white stone. This is basically like limestone or whatever. So what I was saying is I need to actually look up a design for this chapel because I don't know how chapels. I don't want to like freehand it. I want to like make something that is like actually informed. And I'm gonna come through here with just some little pointers. Like so. I think this maybe has to go, I'll be honest. But then it kind of makes sense for that to be there. I don't know. Maybe this part just has to go down a bit. I'm gonna see if I can try to do this without messing up my wall. What is happening? Oh. I said and, I meant to say not. I think that's a bit better. I think it feels better. And we can always just paint this grass or whatever, but here we can just paint this and say, oh my god, that's huge. We can just paint this as grass, and that'll be our little, you know, kind of cheapo cemetery. I'll still make the chapel and pottery field somewhat walled. Yeah, so yeah, there's gonna be a wall. Small door is easily broken down. Yeah. Yes, there is suspicious sand in the gradient. A lot of places around here have like different sort of gradients, but this is kind of the one I went for the main wall. I'm not sure about it. I think it needs some dithering, to be honest. If anyone can nail an angle trish, it'll be our hero. Signed on for another season. Yes, sir. Hello, Gru Corporation. So, minor note about water builds. Water degrades everything, which is why special care is taken for the area in contact with water. Bricks or concrete with volcanic ash is usually involved. That's a good point, but I'm not sure how to represent that specifically. Over there, what I did is I made everything in contact with water be jungle wood, just to kind of show that there's like some level of decay, basically. I'm thinking what could be cool over here is to do something like this. Something, I don't know, to have like a roof over the wall, basically. Whoa, I didn't realize that was messed up. Obviously I need to get to these walls at some point, but it's like when, I don't know. I don't know when I will ever get. This should probably be peeled back a little bit. In my builds, okay, what are we doing? My builds, I usually add some mossy blocks or darker colors along and faintly above the waterline. Yeah. You might retouch it with dark oak under the waterline. I'm not sure. I think dark oak would be too much. Maybe spruce. Maybe. Let me try something, because I'm not happy with how this is going right now. So because I typically prefer to go for diagonals over like truly organic shapes, especially when it comes to like city walls and stuff. I just find it gives it a bit more of a like realistic or sturdy look. And you can see it does still end up with like, you know, it's not a straight wall, like it's not boring, and that's really just what I want to avoid. But it isn't truly like natural, it is more diagonal than it is like free flowing. I think that's good. We're gonna bring this up a few blocks. It'll probably be like 3 or 4 blocks tall. I can just duplicate this and pull it up a little bit. Now we have the makings of a real wall. I think I'll do that again. Duplicate and just pull it up another little block. Like so. Yeah, the music is a little bit loud. Like every track is made by a different artist. So I can't really control it too much. Right above could be some warpwood or mossy for that bright green lichen. I don't think this will affect you very much. What do you think about the new copper golem? I think they look cute, and I think it's cool that they're being added. I don't think I'm ever gonna like actually play with them. Because you know, like you said, I don't really play survival much, but I think they are cute. I support copper golems being in the game. I do like the copper chests. I have made copper chests before, like just like I showed in today's video, just like with blocks. But it's always cool to have new decoration blocks. I think 1.21.5, where we got the new grass and leaf litter, like that was really nice getting all those new deco blocks. I think I'm gonna infill this, make this a bit of a retaining wall. Like so. And like so. Because everyone loves a good retaining wall. Got to make sure there's no dirt showing under here. And then what I'll do is come in, block equals blue wool, and we'll just paint it. We'll just paint it. Going across like so, and I didn't really realize until now how messed up the bottom of this thing is. So I need to infill this a little bit because this is dubious. I don't think someone would build a canal like this. And then in here with the rest of it, we can just come in with our stripped birchwood and voila. I might make this completely oak wood just to make it feel a little bit like older and run down a bit. I'm not sure. I don't think it's bad like that though. Hello Hersan. Do you plan on doing watchtowers or turrets? Yes, yes I do. I'm even gonna do a tower or a couple of like short towers that have windmills on them. Because the original city of Paris did have like windmills in it, and I was looking at a map of I think Rhodes or somewhere around there, and they had a tower on it with a windmill on it. I think people did that like a decent amount, so kind of like the idea of it, and I'm definitely gonna do a windmill tower. Did not anticipate this. Currently rainstorm happening where I'm at. I'm not sure if that's coming in through the audio, but it might be. Just mentioned going through the upstairs of some building next to what we might call a mammal processing. What? I think you should fill all this zone. I mean, even in the inside to make an elevated zone. I'm not gonna make it elevated because I do want it to be like down by the river. I know that can be a bit bad for like flooding, but also people do build at water level quite a lot. Looking at you, New Orleans. I don't think it's the worst thing. Oh, that's not what I should be doing. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Plug up some sandstone. Now this place is coming along. I think we might need to drop in a little bit of stone. Gonna be honest. A little bit of stone down here. Now kind of smooth it out. Like so. There we go. Now this feels pretty good. Elevator would have only made sense for some kind of defensive bastion, not for a graveyard. I mean, people infill stuff all the time. Actually, the entire place where I live is completely infilled and canaled. But, I don't know. Right, like I said, I need to kind of figure out what this place is going to be before I build it, so I need to do some research for that. I did mention though that I want to try doing walls on top of the wall, or stairs on top of the wall. Little roof. I want to just try that. I'm not sure if it'll work. I think it could be just nice to differentiate it basically from the main place. Just make it feel like it's a little bit of its own thing. Maybe somebody else is administering it other than like the city guard, you know? Obviously I'm gonna have to come in here and do a little bit of fixing up the stair blocks using the debug basically. But that's okay. Nothing wrong with just a little bit of debugging. Oops. I think I do like it with the wall. With the stairs, I mean. Like I said, I need to actually fix it, but there we go. Okay, so now we come in here and we just get to it. Peak Cinema. Hello, Bogey, in the chat. It's a nice color palette. Chicago took another approach to flooding and raised the whole city by 2 meters. Yeah, basically the entire place where I live is raised like for specifically flooding reasons. And they raised it like way long ago. I guess, sorry, I'm talking to Europeans. They raised it very recently. I know way long ago on a European scale means something entirely different. I think Vegas has a whole sub-city below it. Yeah, well, Vegas has like the city tunnels and sewers and stuff. I don't even know what that's about. I think I gotta like shrink this or something. I do like the ability to annotate using Axiom, I think is good for planning. Makes things just easier instead of putting down like little signs everywhere where you have to go up and read what each individual sign says. That's what I used to do, you know, like just using signs. There we go. And in terms of where I want here, it'll be here. I don't know if it'll be on a diagonal or not, but that is where the entrance is going to be. We can kind of fill this out a little bit better. You should do more catacomb stuff. I should. I thought about it. I'm not entirely sure. I might do catacombs under the castle, to be honest. I think maybe that could be an interesting direction to take things. But if I'm going to put this graveyard here and this graveyard here, And it's probably going to be another graveyard somewhere else for whatever reason. Because like if I build it like a chapel out there, like I'm probably going to put a couple graves. I don't know. So we'll see how many I do. But also, I originally wanted this place to have a sewer, and then I thought about it more, and it's like I don't even know if I want to make a sewer. So temporarily, my solution is just to do black concrete. And you know, if the day comes when I really want to make a whole sewer system, then I'll make a whole sewer system. Oh, I messed this place up using one of the brushes. That sucks. Did not mean to do that. And I messed up one of the... There used to be a tree here, it looks like. Hold on. Oh, not what I wanted. There we go. Actual raising besides for defenses in Europe only started about 17th, 18th century. What is... There are too many conversations happening in the chat. Oh, add scary bits. I think... Not sure if this place is gonna have scary bits. It might. I haven't really thought about that. But it might have scary bits. This place is another place where I feel like I need to get a good reference before I can start working on it properly. Because like, what if I just plan out a whole thing and then I actually look at a monastery and I'm like, this makes no sense. You know, then I'm just gonna have to redo it. It's gonna be silly. I'm gonna stick to things that I can actually do. Okay, come on. There we go. A little bit better. Man, this terrain is just so messy. So messy. Oh, I didn't even realize I was using the smoothing brush. I thought I was using melt. I think that's the smoothing brush that's creating my like weird water issue. What is happening here? Because smoothing just doesn't really work well with water for some reason. You get an airship. Definitely not going to do an airship because I want this place to feel very like realistic, I'd say. Not to be like boring, but I want this to feel like a specific time and place, you know? When I do sewers like that, and make it extend a little beyond the grid before going black. Yeah, I might do that. Have you thought about that video idea with players acting in Tredegort? I haven't thought about it too much, but I don't see it happening in the near future. Hello, Callie Sykes. Bit chaotic in chat at the moment. It is a bit chaotic in chat, but that's fine. I study archaeology, which really helps with making immersive and realistic buildings. It does help. I'm going to be taking a bunch of archaeology classes. I'm going to be taking a bunch of archaeology classes in the fall and winter because I've taken almost all my anthropology classes already, which means I just can do whatever I want at this point. They're like, just go take electives. I'm like, okay. And for people who don't understand the American/Canadian university system, electives are just when they require you to they require you to take classes outside of your field so that you get a whole education and you're not just walking around like somebody who knows engineering but nothing else in life. And since archaeology classes at my university are considered history or classics, it means as an anthropology student I can take just a whole bunch of them. There we go. There's one single bush that survived here amidst everything that I've done. My idea for this place is to create a kind of seawall up to about here, probably, just to make this like a better harbor. Not really sure about that. I don't think I want to do it now though, because I need to actually like look into it a bit. If you want some archaeology prep in Minecraft, Daskalos just came back from a tour around Greece and Archaeoplace, many educational videos. Daskalos I've heard of, it's ringing a bell, but I'm not sure who that is. And I watch Archaeoplace's stuff. I think it's a great channel. Also Haralder Halfdan makes some good archaeology Minecraft videos. I can always get behind people making Minecraft stuff that really like speaks to, you know, trying to educate people. So I painted this a while ago and I kind of hate it. I don't think it's like the worst thing in the world, but it is something that I think is just straight up kind of bad. So gonna get rid of it and we'll see what else we can do in its place. Because this is supposed to be a retaining wall basically, because this is like a really kind of narrow pathway. But I also kind of feel like it's not narrow enough to merit this kind of retaining wall. I don't even know. I love how for me, anthropology is both an elective and mandatory. So we had an anthropology as in about tribes, but also bones. I think you should have Distant Horizons. I don't really do Distant Horizons. I don't like it. I find it just, it makes the world look really messy, and it also messes up with my fog, so that I can't have like foggy builds, which is annoying. But my main thing is like, I need to take thumbnails for fun, but also like for YouTube, I need to take thumbnails. You can't really take thumbnails if you have Distant Horizons, because you're just getting like, oh, there's a savanna biome 8,000 blocks away. Well, now it's in my video. Now my video thumbnail has a random savanna biome that it really doesn't need to have. And that's no hate to like people who use or like Distant Horizon. It's just why it just doesn't work for me, really. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not sure about the whole retaining wall thing. I don't know how to make it look like natural. It just looks weird as hell. Daskos is awesome. He has an ongoing Bronze Age, Minecraft, and classical Greek skyblock. Oh yeah, I watched the Greek skyblock one. That's why it rings a bell. Yeah, interesting stuff. I don't know what to do with this retaining wall, guys. Not a monastery, but medieval Saint-Germain-des-Prés Abbey might be good inspo. I will make a note of it. I'm going up until about like 1700 for this place. So you know, I'm open to a mix of influences. This is the most recent looking build. I'm not entirely sure because to me it almost looks like too recent. I'm like, does having this in my world make it impossible to have medieval stuff? The answer is I don't know. I don't think necessarily. I think it's like normal for some places to be more advanced than others. Architecturally. Like if you look around you, if you go into the countryside, you'll still find places from like 1800, even if like the nicest place in your city was built in like 2021, you know? So I think it's still fine to have medieval farmhouses and stuff in a world that has like this kind of thing. How's everyone doing? I graduated college. Congrats, Callie Sykes. I'm in summer school. This looks fine to me. Bruges had something like this with a canal running where the arches are to unload and load the market. EFC. Oh, yeah. I think that was built like 16th century. I did base this off of a real building, kind of-ish. A little bit. A little bit. But on Wikipedia, it said like 1650, and then when I actually looked at it more, I think they redid the facade like more recently than that, so I don't even know if that like 1650 thing's like still holds. Anyway, I still don't know what to do about this dang retaining wall thing. Like, that looks weird to me. But I feel like it does need a retaining wall. Otherwise, like, this road is going to be like 2 blocks wide. What do you guys think? Herson says, I think it works. Paris had lots of medieval architecture coexisting with Baroque and neoclassical palaces for some time. Yeah, I agree. Like, when I say 16, so there are like a good series of like wood carvings from like 1650 Paris. And it's really funny because the town hall is on dirt and there's nothing around it. It's like a bunch of medieval houses by the river, huge dirt like plateau, and then like beautiful, stunning town hall. And it's like, it's funny because they built the really important stuff before like any of the infrastructure. So there are like things like this that existed in like not the Middle Ages, but like with medieval buildings at the same time. Anyway, my retaining wall, I always make one layer below the top of dirt, but always has a dirt block visible instead of being level. Blend into the rocks, some greenery, and paint everything. One layer below the dirt. Could try that. Try that. I will probably put some wooden supports. Yeah, I think that might work. Anyway, what I was gonna try and paint it with, if I can get away with it. Is some white cliffs, basically. No, it's white daub. Hold on. So something like this, basically. I think the issue might be making it white to begin with. I think having it be like plastered white just doesn't work. I try making it more stony colored. I think that blends better. I think my issue is that I was trying to whitewash it. I don't know. What do we think of this in the chat? Does this kind of work? What are we talking about here? Myers, I think it works. Trust the process. Interesting. I mostly do the one block lower to make a difference between a retaining wall and terrace. Calcite blocks of Dover over there. Better than the white. I think better than the white. I think this kind of works. This area, I don't know. I feel like I need to clean this up because this is just not working for me right now. And I think I need to completely take this down here. I think what I'm going to do is basically extrude it, but shrinky. Take it down a few blocks. Because I find having these big kind of weird piles of dirt up against the wall just doesn't look good. Even though I don't want the wall to be like at sea level, I do want, you know, there to not have like a big like pile of dirt up against the wall. Like that just feels silly to me. And I will probably do a double wall in this area, like to some degree. I'm just not sure how much. There we go. Piles of dirt along the walls is realistic. I don't think a pile of dirt that big is realistic. Hello, a Heracross. It wouldn't make sense for those tall dirt hills to be there. Foot traffic during construction would have traveled down. Yeah, I agree. I think we just need to like smooth this place out. Like it's too, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't, it feels like for the scale that it's at, it's just like weird. Here, stable. The water's up again. Oh, it was already like that. Okay. Yeah, I think I need to raise the, whoops. I think I need to raise this up. Like just having like a random divot in the ground. I don't know. I appreciate that we need to do some variation, but I feel like that's not the right variation. Since I already know this is going to be the port, I am going to get rid of this big blob here. That's kind of just bothering me. I will paint over some things, and I think we need to do like a big, here's the plan. Gonna do like a big sort of area for a guardhouse, and on either side of this we're gonna do like a ditch that's gonna go out to probably like the same amount. It won't be the craziest like defensive thing in the world, but I think it'll work. We could also, instead of digging down, go up with like some bastions or whatever, but I'm not sure about that. I did do basically this whole layer of the castle is like a bastion layer. You can see it's meant to repel cannons. So I am thinking about like cannons and stuff and that kind of like level of warfare, but for down here, I think maybe a ditch just makes more sense. What production is this music? This is Ipanema Daydream by Bird Creek. Actually, I'm gonna turn it back up because the next one's probably gonna be quiet. Is there a really way to stop animal mobs from spawning though? I don't know. I can feel myself being pulled towards binging your videos. Let me know if you do. Leave a comment, you know, when you hit a video you like. You only really need to make the right defensive. The whole wide river does the other side. Oh, so my issue is like this is a port, which means theoretically somebody could just like sail a ship up into here, unload it with guys, and like just set up right at the walls. I don't know if this castle controls like the whole ocean yet, you know? So I do need to think about making this like very defensive. I think like a ditch is probably the move. But to do a ditch, I have to actually figure out where the land is, which is kind of tough right now. Here, what we could do is actually like smooth and come out here and just kind of bring this out some more. Like so. Just something like that. We can also bring this out here. Just a little bit. Then we can actually bring this like completely normal. Kind of smooth things out like so. I'll pop this one down. And I'll bring this back up. This is still like really... There's still like a pretty strong gradient though, like coming down to the water. Like I'm not entirely sure. I feel like maybe this should come down and we should make part of this go up. I don't like the idea of it dipping down. I like the idea of it being like a very like clear gradient down to water level. You can see that even though we have like these huge terraforming tools, like at the end of the day, if you want to take on a big terraforming project, you're still doing it like partly yourself. There's no amount of like using tools that will make you not also be like the one terraforming. And this needs to come down for sure. There we go. Top everything with string and bottom half slabs. That stops almost everything. Oh god, yeah. That's a nightmare though. Harbor defenses should take care of that surely. Well, oh, Canaduc. This castle is based on the Chateau du Louvre. This is really heavily based on the castle that used to exist where the Louvre is now, before it slowly got turned into like a modern, well, yeah, modern like building. It used to be this basically, and I've tried to model it like mostly correctly. There are places where I'm taking like, you know, a little bit of my own like vibes or whatever, but like very famously, if you visit the Louvre today in Paris, you can walk down here. You can walk down where the moat used to be for the old tower, the donjon. In any case, I'm gonna try and basically recreate the Louvre roughly on top of this modern bastion. The Louvre itself is sitting down at like river level, so obviously like I can't do it the way it really is in real life, but I can give it my best. We're getting somewhere, we're getting somewhere. I don't know why I keep randomly slipping into like a faux southern accent. This orange is to show where I wanted to do like a little stream or ditch running out. I'm not sure if I'm still gonna do that. But now that we know roughly what the wall level is, we can actually dig a ditch. Here, I'd like to try and make it like symmetrical, so we're gonna dig it out using tools. You can see how much the land like gently slopes up to the point where down there it's like land level, and here it's digging deep already. I think this is going to be a dry ditch, by the way. That's why I'm not calling it a moat. Coming in like so. We can just stretch it on back. Not sure about the optimal ditch design, but I think something like this works. Interesting conversations. You'd have some drains from the walls pouring into the sea. Yeah, that's basically what that orange bit is going to be. And over here somewhere, yeah, there's another one you can see. So this one's supposed to be running down and going out to the sea. So I'm not sure I'm going to like actually implement that right now. I was in Paris like 1 month ago. Paris is nice. I like Paris. I've been exactly once and it was nice. All right, back to the ditch, which is currently filled with sheep. So sorry everyone in the chat, but I gotta do a little bit of sheep killing. And a cow. There we go. I might dig everything down to be just one deeper. And I'll kind of smooth out the terrain a little bit so it makes a bit more sense. Because like here it's like definitely like very deep, but on the other side it just doesn't get that vibe across at all. I guess this is probably going to be lined with dirt. Although we could line it with like stones, but I think, I don't know. What I might also do is bring out the wall a little bit. So that we have a layer of wall that's like right here. The only issue is that it's going to really cut down on my port space. The more I push out the defenses, the less actual port I have, which kind of sucks. Land of the Gators. Damn, this is looking good. Is this in Tredegor? No, this is in a separate world. I wanted to build this in Tredegor originally, but this place is massive. I mean, this place is going to be like really massive. Like all of this and all of this and everything up until at least the mountain. Like everything here I'm planning on making into like actual like livable space. Whether it's just like terraforming or whether I'm actually gonna go in and do like a bunch of fields and suburbs and stuff. Like I haven't fully decided, but this is gonna be a really big project, and I'll always have Tredegor to come back to, but currently my thoughts are that I want to have the ability to bounce between this and Tredegor. Too far. Too far, too far. Yeah, I decided I'm gonna do a wall. I can just push the port out like another block or two, but I can't, you know, come back in and say like, oh, by the way, I wanted a wall, you know? So. Okay, so we have that. And then I'll take this and I'll just keep duplicating it up until I'm happy with it. I'm probably going to do 3 blocks, I think. I'm not sure. This kind of broke though, and it was not supposed to. There we go. All right. Your port not going to have an entrance itself. There is going to be well, okay, so you can go into the city. You can go along there, outside. Although I'm going to put some kind of like wall here, or there is a canal, so this is probably going to be like all porty kind of stuff. And then you can sail in through here. I hope I can get my modern city in my world to reach that scale. I hope I can finish this scale. Spike, this build is mostly inspired by Paris in the 17th century. Are you planning on making steamboats? I considered it. I'm probably only going to do sailboats because steamboats are more late 18th century. And I'm really trying to go a little bit earlier than that. My personal headcanon is that the city is in the same world lore-wise as Tredegor. It is to me too, but I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna force it. I'm not gonna say like, and this is the Newport Merchants Guild representative in I haven't named this place, but you get it. You're gonna build a seawall for the port or not really? Yes, I'm gonna build a seawall, but not all the way around. I'm gonna build like a wave break. Just to quickly do it like my plan is to do something like that. And I'm not sure about this side. Like I could do something in the water here. Like I could do a big bridge. I don't know. I'm probably just going to keep the bridge over there and then make it so you have to go through the city to cross the river. I think that would be more advantageous to the people who live here. I'm probably going to go like maybe come out a few more blocks and then basically the ships are all going to be over here, mostly parked, like anchored, and you know, some stone docks and quays and stuff. But I don't know, it's kind of a weird shape. It doesn't naturally lend itself to being a good like port or anything. The chatters are for the most part talking amongst themselves. Hey, that's fine. As long as people are hanging out and having fun. The city would be some kind of grand faraway place that people in Tredegor only hear about. I think that's a fun idea. Bridge, we're gonna have to get a real civil engineer for a bridge review. Ooh. I was thinking of doing a bridge video recently, actually. I'm not saying I will, but I was thinking about it. My issue though, of course, like you mentioned, is that I'm not an engineer, and I feel like if I start talking about cantilever bridges, somebody's gonna like get my ass. Not in a mean-spirited way, but you know, I don't want to like share misinformation. Um, Obviously, my goal is always to educate and like share whatever education I have, but part of educating is like being responsible and kind of sticking to your own lane to some degree. Um, so you know, I don't know. I might need to like collaborate with somebody if I want to make a proper, well-informed bridge review video that I'm like not bridge review, bridge like theory video that I'm really happy about. Yeah, my tick speed is high. Gonna get rid of that because it doesn't really make sense anymore. There we go. The wall level is gonna run around like this. Not the wall level, like the actual walking level for the wall. I guess I might have to bump it up another, maybe just a half slab or something. Or what I could do is do what I did on this side and get in some red tiles. But those kind of work because this is sandstone, I'm not sure. Maybe do the port and the river mouth. That's not enough space though. That's a real, like, that's a fair thing, but I don't think it's enough space for me, honestly. A seawall with a weir to prevent insaltification and allow trading. I don't remember the name of the area, but my favorite village in your world has little red and white houses and a hog farm. Yes, that is Rostillid. It's just outside of Castle Leslie. It inspired a village in my beta world called the Village Garfield. I'm happy to hear it. That Garfield sounds like an interesting place. Real Civil Engineer is another YouTuber. He's known for hating architects. Hmm. I don't know if I want to. I don't know how much I want to collaborate with a guy who's known for hating architects. Okay, let's get back to it. So I think that this wall is gonna be stripped oak, like so. And we can also bring down the stripped oak roundabout here. I'm still not sure what this is gonna be, but I do need to actually kind of fill this in a little bit because right now it's, yeah. Here, we can paint this. And paint it just a little bit just to make it like not hideous to look at. I think making this grass actually would be kind of nice. Maybe, potentially. This level here, though, is not going to be grass. This is going to be wall level. I might make this down here all like jungle wood. Here we go. Let's just drag this on back. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my mouse has been kind of broken for like a few days now. So I'm not really spinning around right now because I can't see nothing. Mouse ain't working. Okay. There we go. Something just like that. And then we're gonna fill this all with jungle. I think this is looking kind of cool. I might actually bring this in to make this symmetrical. Symmetrical is always kind of nice. I'm not sure. It's a running joke among architects and engineers because architects dream of structures. Yeah, I get it. Oh wait, it was a Ravelin. What did I miss? I don't know what's happening in the chat. I'm getting a bit lost. But in any case. So we could make this like really bright, but I think the move is to go for more like subtle colors. More around this tone. I don't know. Or we could just go with a slab layer. Nothing wrong with a trusty slab layer, but I think I might try to make it something a little bit more visually interesting. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for orange. I think this place deserves a nice little pop of color. And of course, I might come out and change this in the future because obviously one thing I think about is like actual color composition and stuff. And like, if I want this to be the main visual draw, having this be bright orange might not be the best. So I have to think about that. But in any case, I don't know. I don't think the orange works. Don't think it works. I think this might just be a slab dealio. In which case we will come around here and just make it all even Steven. So yeah, I think this might need to be symmetrical. So here's a fun way to cheat. Use your ruler. From there to there is 34. Actually, I haven't... Oh, God. Hold on. Okay, that's where... Is that straight? Yeah, that's straight. Is it? Can't tell anymore. I don't know if that's straight either. Hold on. I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. This is 631, 450. $631,450. And if we come up to here, this is 548, 451. Oh God. Okay, we need to be on 451. This is not good. Oh, no. Okay, now 450, 449, 451. Really? Okay, so this is the middle then. Because I want to, again, like, symmetry looks good. You know, people like symmetry. There we go. Okay. So that to that is 45. This now to here is like way more than 45. That's 50. We should bring this closer. Now we know how much to bring it. Yeah, that's what I said about my mouse being broken. I'm like struggling to drag this. It's miserable. What happened? Okay. We've got to drag this forward to there. There we go. Now it goes 45, 45, and it is symmetrical. I just realized it's not symmetrical. Okay. Need to bring it in one more. And then it'll be symmetrical. There we go. Okay, what are we on? I don't like symmetry, makes it feel artificial. I think you need a bit of both. I think you need to find the spots where it needs to be symmetrical and find where it needs to be asymmetrical. I don't think either one is ever the answers like all the time, but when it comes to stuff like this, I do think there's a part of the brain that likes being scratched by symmetry. Okay, not perfect, but you know, we have an idea now of how it's gonna look. Can you imagine UK cathedrals being built with string and sticks as markers? I think they did. Uh, Mr. Bobert is really struggling here. Mr. Bobert is really struggling here. It's all right, so I went to my nearest stationery store and they said the mouse that you bought before, which is the, if you guys are wondering, Logitech Triathlon M70, M720. Logitech Triathlon M720. I bought the mouse. I went to the store because my mouse, I bought this a couple years ago. It's broken now. And that's going to be problematic. That's going to suck. I guess I can lower this. Yeah, basically it was broken and I was like, oh. I went to the store and it's discontinued. So I looked online and they said they still had it. So I went home and they do not still have it online because they don't ship to Canada. They only ship to the US. So I don't know what I'm going to do for a mouse, but I do kind of need to buy a new mouse. Even like trying to highlight my readings for school, like I'm a university student, I have to do readings, so I highlight a lot, and trying to like drag the highlighter over to the text is so miserable. It is genuinely like a Herculean task for me to not close the tab and give up. So I do really need to buy a new mouse. Even trying to edit YouTube videos, like trying to edit the video that I posted today, took me an extra like 5 minutes than it probably would have if my mouse wasn't broken. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere. I do see that builds need symmetry, but I've always tried to see it from a perspective of realism and immersion. I think that's fair, but I also think it's fair to say that the people who built a giant wall around their modern city would have made the gate symmetrical. I think I need to lower this to match the other side. Again, in the name of symmetry, like having a weird like 2-block gap is kind of just annoying. What am I doing here? I could just expand. There we go. Silly. Silly, silly. I don't know how I want this ditch to be accessed. I think so. The easiest way to make the ditch accessible would just be like door here, door here. I don't know how I feel about that though. Another way would be to do like a small like a door up to a tower or something. I don't know how I feel about that either. Or I could bring this layer out like here and then make you be able to like come down off the drawbridge and just like walk across it. That would also potentially work. Gardens are often symmetrical. A market rarely is. Yeah, unless it's a planned market, because planned markets are symmetrical. Or you could talk about a market where there's like asymmetrical building and then in it the stalls are asymmetrical. So there's always like a give and take. My mouse broke too. Rip. You highlight stuff? I do highlight stuff. Otherwise I don't remember. I also take I annotate. Otherwise I don't remember anything. If I didn't, like I would never remember a single gosh darn thing. I gone through university with loose paper notebooks and like 5 black pens. I will say, okay, genuine advice. If you're a notebook person, don't get a notebook, get a binder. This way, you can sort all your loose leaf, like you can change them around, you know, when you want to study for an exam. You can be like, okay, this packet of loose leaves I'm putting to the front of my binder so that like I can separate it from the material I don't need to study. Or you can take your loose leaf, write on it in class, in a class, put it into your binder and it's like protected. That is my advice if you're a notebook person, because that is what I do. I write all my notes on loose leaf. Again, if I type my notes, I don't remember anything. So I think what I want to do, I'm still not sure. Hello Morty in the chat. Didn't you say you were going to end at 4:30? I said sometime between 4:30 and 5:30. My notebooks have tear outlines. Yeah, but then you just end up with like loose leaf. And then they get like crumpled or something. I find it to be problematic. I want to show you guys something real quick because I know not everybody here is in the Discord. But if we take a little flyover, you can see that we have cliffs now in Tredegor. I built this huge cliff face the other day. Basically this is why I had that white cliffs thing. It is technically almost fully solid, except I think we have like kelp down here or something. But yeah, there used to be a swamp here and the swamp just sucked. So I was like, well, I want to do big cliffs, so we'll do cliffs. And now if you come to visit and you get them off in the distance, you can see some cliffs being just in the distance. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with them. If I get really inspired, I'm gonna do something like a castle or like a town or something. But right now, for like the world download, like this is technically finished. Like there's no like missing blocks or anything. Like this technically exists. It's just like empty nature right now. And you know, when I have a good idea, like I'll put it in. In any case, the reason that I exited my world is because I want to copy paste something. Oh, yeah, I've been making oak trees. I mean, you guys know I make like a lot of trees, but I've been making like more trees. Flying through the super flat world. Trying to find some stuff that I built. This is the ship I showed off in today's video. And that is the Black Pearl. Those are some ships that I built for Medina, and this is what I'm actually getting. We're just gonna yoink that, take it, bring it on back, and see if we can't copy paste it in. What is happening? That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. All right. Let's give this a wee little rotate. Like so. Interesting. Interesting. So this is supposed to be, hold on. This is supposed to be 1 block lower. I'm not sure how far this should stick out. I guess I kind of know. Hold on. Originally, I planned to have this sticking out here. But this sucks, because this means I can't have like a good ditch. I don't know. What's going on here? Time for the 7th castle. 7th castle is always an idea. Could do an abandoned tower. I might do an abandoned like ruined castle. I think having a big white castle like abandoned could be kind of nice. Have you worked a way to incorporate the canopy crowning we talked about? No, although I have been thinking about it, but I still haven't really found a good way to like copy paste my trees to like leave a good amount of space. You're a fantastic builder. Thank you, Random Gamer. Definitely Prague inspired. This is Paris inspired. I can show you the exact photo. I'm not sure about using this here though anymore. I might put it in another part of the city. Like I think it looks nice, but I'm also, I built this before knowing what the area would look like, and now I'm like, I don't know if I should just like alter it to make it make more sense. I'm not going to copy paste it in for now. I think this is better as a visualization exercise than, you know, like I'm not going to copy paste it. I'm going to give it a bit of time, see how I really feel about it. I do still like the idea of the ditch here. And I do think it's like a good size for a ditch. I think putting that in here would ruin like the ditch's scale. So I don't know. I thought it's Carlsbridge. Hold on. It's actually, hold, I'll send it in the Discord. It's a recreation of one of the old Paris gates. I think I'm just gonna end the stream by doing a little bit more terraforming. Try to get a little bit more like busy work done, because this stuff is kind of just like boring to do by myself. There we go. Yeah, I need to figure out how to blend this in, because this doesn't look right at all. Could just do this. That doesn't feel normal. I think I might need to put down a little bit of terrain here and then just sort of smooth it out. Here, we'll shrink these. We'll make this real smooth out here. Give it a real slow kind of gradient. Like so. Bring it out a little bit more. And I think ultimately at this point, we can come in through here-ish and raise this. I'll leave that there as a reminder that I did want to do a stream there. And I think we do need a couple more of these kind of big, smooth, flat shapes. So we'll put in another one of these. And then that thing can like arc between here. I think that'll be fine. As for this, we'll just bring it out very slowly. Like so. Probably drop it down a block. And I think having this level of like kind of radiant difference is like fine. Always down for more castles in Tredegor. I agree. Have you ever physically held your tongue and said, I have site castle? I am not sure what you mean. LDM, I'm using the Axiom mod to build. Oh, whoops. I need to use an or statement here. Okay, not or. Like so. And then I just wanted to come in here and do another little rock up against here. Oh no, that's not what I want. I wonder if that's ruining anything on the side. No, it's okay. It's okay. That's weird. Not really supposed to be doing that. Here, let's get rid of some of this stuff. Just because I feel like this area is a little bit too flat. I don't like the Minecraft like hilliness, but I don't want it to be like a super flat world either. I think that'll be too boring. I think something like this is a happy sort of medium. That is gonna do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed streaming and got some good work done, especially a lot of terraforming work that I've been putting off for a while. You guys also got a pretty good view of what the city is looking like, and we made some important decisions about what to do with some of this land around here. We do have a lot of space to work with and, kind of fill, to be honest. But in any case, I'm not sure when the next video is going to be or what it's going to be exactly, but it's my birthday this week. So I'm going to have a busy few days. But I will try to, obviously keep in contact and stuff. And the world download is still supposed to be coming out for Tredegor. Again, end of July, beginning of August, like I've been saying for a while now. But that's gonna do it for today, and I'll see you guys in the future. See ya. And thanks for all the happy birthday messages.